welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, and today we're going to talk a lot about Col-Lab makeup. So before we get any further, this video was not sponsored. This was not sent to me. Here's the receipt. I bought everything at Sally Beauty Supply with my own money. I really wanted to dig into this brand, give you guys a really unbiased and honest review. So that's what we're gonna do today. If you guys like these types of videos, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe before you guys leave, and let's jump right in and let's do this! So before we get into talk about the products, I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit about the brand. So this brand was created by a company in collaboration with 8 other amazing beauty influencers. So I will leave all of them linked down below. I highly encourage you guys to subscribe to them all because they're all amazing. So I really like that they collabed with 8 of them because I feel like that fits a pretty good range of people in regards to getting different people's opinions, and they all obviously work with makeup, so a lot more opinions will obviously result in hopefully better products. So I wanted to dive in, get a full face worth of stuff. So everything from this brand is on my face right now. I picked up everything at Sally Beauty Supply. I highly recommend you go pick it up as soon as you can. It's November 7th today, and everything is buy 2 get 1 free, so I would highly recommend go take advantage of that sale. But let's dive into the products. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the eyes. I'll go in the order that I applied everything today. So the first thing that I use, I'm not going to talk about. We'll get into that with the face. I just primed my eyes with the concealer. But we'll talk first about these eyeshadow palettes. I picked up the shade Best of Day. I'm not going to swatch these because I feel like swatching shadows on your hand is redundant. They are on my eyes right now. And you try telling me those don't look bomb. These are the best shadows in the drugstore. I'm going to compare these drugstore because these are all drugstore price range. So they're probably on the higher scale of drugstore price range. I would say mostly like $10 to $15 range, but the drugstore, they're trying to play us lately. Their prices are slowly but surely coming up. So these I will compare to drugstore pricing and drugstore products. So this shadow palette, it reminds me a ton of the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So if you don't have that, this I think is an excellent dupe. It's not identical to it by any means, but you get a really good range of colors. You get really fall appropriate colors. They do have 3 other palettes like these. One is like a neutral, one's more of a blue, and then one other one is more purple. This one was calling to me the most, but I do want to pick up the neutral and purple one. So with my first initial thoughts on this one, these blend out so good. They almost blend out themselves. They are stunning, stunning shadows. The formula of them is so good. They're creamy, they're buttery, all the good stuff that you look for in shadows. These definitely have that. And they don't have a ton of kick up when you apply your brush in the pan. They do have a little bit of kick up, but that to me, that don't bother me at all, especially when they apply like this. So I would highly recommend. These would be a standout product to me. These retail for $14.99, so I feel like that's a really good price for 8 shadows. So I would definitely recommend these 100%. So next product up is going to be a felt tip liner. This is the Ink Addict liner pen. This to me wasn't one of my favorites, but this swatches amazing. It's super black, it dries down matte. I mean, this is what I used for my wings today. Not my favorite just because I don't really like felt tip liners. I prefer the liquid liners. These are really good though, but the only thing that I would recommend is if you spray your face with a setting spray, spray your face before applying this, because I did spray my face and I did notice I was starting to get a little bit of transfer on my lid. Or just keep your eyes closed so your face feels dry, but that's just the only thing that I would recommend with this. It did tug on my eye a little bit, so that's not something I love. But for the price, it's $8.99. I felt like this was a really good liquid liner. Like I said, super black, swatches amazing, it applies really nice. So I would recommend this still if you are a fan of felt tip liners. So after those 2 eye products, we'll move on to face primer. I'll come back to the other eye products later. But the primer that I used today was the Fundamental Smoothing Primer. This reminded me consistency-wise of the Fenty Beauty Primer. And if you guys watch my Facebook Live videos, you would know I'm obsessed with that primer. I even talked about that primer in my current favorites, but this reminded me a lot of that. I feel like my skin doesn't look as best as it could, but for a drugstore primer, this is probably the best one that I have ever used. Even the color and everything is the exact same as the Fenty primer, so I'll be curious to compare the ingredients in both to see if they're even close to the same. I don't know, maybe it's just me in my head, but I felt like this did a good job with blurring my pores because I feel like my skin looks really good on camera. It's just in person, my skin isn't really where I want it to be right now. So that could have something to do with it too. I've been slacking on my skincare. I just repurchased a ton of stuff. So I feel like I will like this even more with the better that my skin looks. So I'll hang on to this. I will definitely try it out more with other foundations and stuff. But retail price on this is $12.99, and like I said, this is drugstore price range in my opinion. This one would definitely be the one that I would recommend the most from drugstore. So after primer, we'll move on to foundation, and I'm going to talk about this sponge while we're at it. So we're actually going to first talk about this because I need to try this foundation without this sponge because I did not like this sponge at all. It is way too dense, it's way too firm. It doesn't steal your product, which is good, but it's just, for a sponge, it's not bouncy, it's really dense. I just did not like anything about it. I don't like the multiple shape angles. I don't know, I just don't like that at all. But as far as for the foundation, I picked up the Meet Your Matte foundation. They do have a more radiant / luminous foundation, but I picked up the matte one. This one was just more appealing to me. But I will start by saying this shade range needs work. I think there's only 10 shades in this. I'm going to insert a picture that I took on my Instagram story of this foundation wet and then dry. This does either dry darker or oxidize. I have not been wearing it long enough to notice if it oxidizes, but so far since I've been wearing this, I have not noticed it oxidizes. But when you first apply this and then once it dries down, it does dry down darker than originally when you first apply it. So just be cautious of that. And retail price on this is $14.99. So I feel like that's a good price for drugstore. I'm gonna keep using that term, drugstore. I really want to try this again. I don't really like judging foundations on their first try just because I don't know, it's just like so much could change the way that you feel about it. So with that sponge, I did not like it, but I feel like my skin looks good. I think it is more of a medium coverage, but it is buildable to a full coverage. So I really like the first impression of this, but I do want to try it with products that I use all the time. So I would say try it out. You might like it, you might not like it, but with Sally's you do have that return policy, so if you're not happy with it, you can bring it back. So this first impression of it, I would say try it, but I don't want to give a full like yes I would recommend it or no, just because I don't know how it wears yet or anything like that. So if you guys want to see a wear test on this foundation, let me know and I can definitely do that for you. So after foundation, I went in with concealer. This is the No Flaws liquid concealer. They do have, I think, 4 or 3 other formulas, but these are the ones that I like the most. I really did like the applicator on it. It has more of like that doe foot applicator. First impression of this, I really like the color of it. I really like the pigmentation of it. I don't think it's full coverage by any means, but I feel like for what I need, it was like light to medium coverage. But for a drugstore concealer, I thought this was really good. It blends out. Even with this sponge, it blended out so easily, you guys. You're gonna see a demo of this. It blended out ridiculously easy. So I loved this concealer. I thought it was really good, especially for the price. The price on this was $12.99, so it is a little bit more expensive for a drugstore concealer, but I did think this was a really good concealer, and I feel like a lot of people would like this for day-to-day use. After concealer, we'll go on to one of my least of favorite products. I picked up the Kill the Shine pressed powder, and this is only just one of my least favorites because I just don't like pressed powders. I am a loose powder queen. I actually set my under eyes and like my T-zone area with my Coty Airspun just because I cannot rely on a pressed powder to do all that for me. So I picked up the shade Ivory Sand. I felt like the shade was really good. The formula of this is really buttery, really creamy. I really did like it. It's just, I'm just not one of those people that like pressed powders. I think they're great to throw in your purse. It did come with a little sponge, so I thought that was really nice. The packaging, it has a mirror on it. The packaging on all these products is so good. So I like the idea of this product. I just personally don't like pressed powders. So I feel like that's how a lot of this is. It's like the products that I don't like, it's just because I don't like those types of powders. So my Sally's didn't have the loose powder. I know they have one, so I'm definitely going to try that out when it comes back, but this one just wasn't my favorite. Let's see, next product up is going to be the bronzer / contour that I used. This is the Sun Obsession Sculpting Bronzer in the shade Major. I want to say that they have a contour palette. It wasn't at my store, but I'm pretty sure that they have it, but this was perfect for me. I love the shade of it. I think it's perfect. I used it for my contour and bronzer today, and I also did use this Col-Lab, I don't know what kind of brush this is. What kind of brush did we get? The Multitasking face brush. I actually really like this for contouring. I thought I was going to use it for a lot more than just that, but I felt like that was the only thing I really liked it for. So I really did like this for a contour brush. It fit really nicely in my cheekbone area, but this shade is like a perfect contour shade for me. I don't like to go cool tone. I like to stay neutral, and I feel like this really did it for me. I really love the packaging. I personally don't care that it doesn't have a mirror because I like the fact that I could see what color it is, because you'll see with all these pressed powders, they all have the same packaging, so I like that you could see through the top of them. So if you're a person that likes to have the mirror in these, you might not like these, but ultimately I thought these were really good. So next product up is going to be the Soft Spot Sheer Blush. I believe this is the same price as the bronzer. This is what the shade looks like. I don't think this is really worth what it costs because you can see, like, you really can't see it. It's very sheer, which, I mean, that's what it says. It's a sheer blush, so they ain't lying to us there, but I feel like it's a little bit too sheer. I thought it looked really nice on my cheeks, but it was one of those things like, is it there though? You know what I mean? So I felt like this was a decent product if you're looking for something really sheer. Definitely check these out, but I personally like more pigmented blushes, so I would probably pass on this if I were to buy it again, but some of you guys might really like sheer blushes, so check them out. I don't know. That's all I could really say about it, and I believe the price on these is $11.99 as well. So my biggest disappointment, only because highlighters are my favorite product, but this is the filter highlighting powder in the shade Glow for the Gold. I don't see where this is gold by any means, but I think it looks really nice on camera. In person, it looks very powdery. Like when I first applied it, I was like, ooh, that looks funny. Like it still has that glow, but it doesn't look skin-like. Like you could tell, like it looks like a powder is on your face. So I personally was not a fan of this. I want to say it's the same price as the blush and bronzer as well, but I personally wasn't a fan of it. I was so disappointed because I love highlighters. I was really looking forward to this one, but it wasn't my favorite. Some of you guys might like it. It can be very natural. I built it up a little bit so it looks a little bit more pigmented because I like to beam. I will say though, it does look better once you spray your setting spray over it. I feel like it looked better, but when I first applied it, I was just like, I'm not really a fan. So this was probably my biggest letdown of them all, but it wasn't like the worst product by any means. It was still decent. So after highlighter, I moved back to my eyes. I went in with the Bold Face Liner in the shade Ego. This is just a brown eyeliner. To me, I thought this was a miss. Like when you swatch it, it swatches so nice. Like it swatches creamy, buttery, all that good stuff, but on your eyes, it does not apply like that. I had to go in several times to really get the pigmentation, and it's still really not as pigmented as I would like it to be. The shade of it is perfect, but I would still recommend the Marc Jacobs highliners over this one. I feel like brown is the hardest eyeliner for brands to perfect, so I'm not extremely let down. Like this is not the worst by any means, but it's not my favorite either. So I feel like I would pass on this if I were to buy it again, but I would be curious to try out the other shades. Col-Lab, you need a nude shade though. Like give us a nude liner. They're like my favorite color is nude liners. So I was let down by the brown, but I would be curious to try the black and the other colors. I think they have like blue, purple, and all those kinds. But brown let me down, unfortunately. And I think retail price on this was $8.99, so not bad price by any means. For a brown liner, it worked. You can make it work. It's just not going to be as quick and easy as like Marc Jacobs. So after the eyeliner, I moved on to brows. I used two products on my brows today. I first started out with the Shape and Shade Ultrafine Brow Pencil in the shade Rich Brown. This was one of my favorite products of this entire line because I love the packaging, mainly because I love that they have the clear top over the spoolie, because I'm that person that always puts the wrong top on each side. But this reminded me a ton of the Anastasia Brow Wiz, like insanely. But I feel like this shade matched my brow hairs perfectly. This is probably the fastest I've ever done my brows in my entire life because it was so easy, so effortless. So I absolutely love this. I would highly recommend it. And retail price on it was only $10.99, so that's half the price of the Brow Wiz. A little bit more than like the NYX Precisely My Brow, and the L'Oreal one I think is about the same price. So I would definitely say this is right in those same ballpark as all the drugstore options. So I would definitely recommend this one. So after that, I went in with a brow gel. This is the Shape and Hold Brow Setter. Love the packaging. The packaging is so good on all this stuff. But I love the applicator on this, but the product itself, it's white. When I comb through my brows, first of all, it doesn't really go on your brows. I feel like the comb is almost like too long for the product to get on your brows. But then when you get the product on your brows, it's white, so you have to really like smooth it down with your finger. When I have a brow gel, I just want to swipe it through and be done with it. So I personally love everything about this except for the formula of the product, and I don't know. I just had really high hopes for it. When I took it out, I was like, ooh, I'm really intrigued. But then I applied it. I was like, I feel like it really didn't do anything. I think if you have thicker brows and lighter brows, this might be better for you, but for me, I keep my brows pretty trimmed, so this really didn't do anything for me, so I would pass on this. And then the next thing I moved on to was my lip combo that's on my lips right now. So I first went in with the Line and Define Lip Contouring Pencil in the shade Petal Pusher. I actually really like these. They remind me a lot of the Unique lip pencils or the Real Her lip pencils. I still prefer MAC lip liners because I really like how they build on top of each other. This has a really creamy and really opaque application, so I really did like this, but they don't top my MAC ones by any means. And then retail price on this was $8.99. And then after the lip liner, I went in with the full body lipstick in the shade Really. I love this lipstick. This is a matte lipstick. I know they have other formulas, but this is the one that I just love the color of it. But I'll give you guys one swatch, you guys. These are such a good formula. They don't really have a scent, which is nice. So I really like these. I think retail price on these was $9.99 or $10.99. I will leave all that stuff linked down below. But this was amazing. So I really liked this lipstick. And then the final lip product I went in with is the Glow with the Flow Lip Shine in the shade Whatever. The color on this is stunning. It's what's on the center of my lips right now. Very beautiful shine, but this is my only bitch about this product right here. Like when you swatch it, like you barely get any product. So it's like you have to constantly, like I had to go in this like 4 or 5 times just to get the center of my lips. I feel like the applicator is just way too big for a lip gloss. I don't know. I feel like you'll kind of get it everywhere if you're not careful. So the applicator of this, I'm not crazy about. I wish they would change that because I feel like the application would be even better. But as far as the formula of this one, it's not too sticky. It's not too, like, my lips don't stick together. Very comfortable. I've had it on this whole video talking and it's still on, so that's good. But it's just the applicator is what I really don't like about it. But I will warn you, when I was in Sally's, I was looking at the different shades. There's a clear one with glitter in it. The formula on that one seems to be a lot different than this. It looks a lot more goopy and a lot more sticky. These ones are way more comfortable than those ones. So I would definitely try one of these ones over that one. But I have personally not tried it, so I don't know. I know the girls at Sally's personally didn't like it either. So just be on the lookout for that. But this shade I thought was really beautiful. It's just the applicator is what I don't like. But if I could look past the applicator, we're good here. And then the last product up is going to be a mascara. This is the High Rise Insane Length Mascara. I really like this. First reason I really like this is because my lashes look amazing right now. They look really fluffy, separated, lengthened. They just look nice, and I can use this on my top and bottom lashes. I have a really hard time getting that inner corner. This is such a small applicator, so it takes a little bit longer to apply it, which that's a little bit of a downfall, but I'll do a close-up on the applicator. The applicator is a little bit smaller, but you can really get in those troubled areas, so I really like this. One thing I just realized that this is in the shade Black Brown, so I want to see if they have a black one. So if you are picky about your colors, make sure you pay attention to that because I assume they were all black. But they do have other formulas of mascaras, I know that, but this is the one that Coffee Break with Danny recommended, so I had to listen to my girl and I picked this one up. You guys, I have no idea where the outro to this video went, but that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys do like these videos, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel before you guys leave. Hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I upload new videos, and I hope to see you guys in my next one. Peace!